So yeah, you've won many trophies with the Protoss. I mean, you said you changed the Protoss from other race, but like in the past, a lot of people say that Protoss was imba, including I would say Scarlet and other even Korean pro players, and then they even made a clan tag to put it. Is it you change it to Protoss because Protoss was so strong at that time, or it's just your playstyle fits the Protoss?
I think I definitely switched originally because Protoss was very strong. I switched around, I think it was middle of 2014, which is like right in the middle of Heart of the Swarm, where Protoss was like fairly easy to play. You would kind of do the same thing every game, and it wouldn't be like too challenging strategically or mechanically. And I thought Protoss was like super easy to play compared to Terran, and yeah, that's why I switched initially. Legacy of the Void, of course, shake things up, and it didn't end up being that way. But yeah, Protoss was still also, I will admit, very strong at the beginning of Legacy, and that could have also contributed to some of my success.
But you know that Protoss isn't strong race anymore. Recently
Right.
Protoss player haven't been reached quarterfinals at Katowice since the 2022 Atlanta. No Protoss player has won a single trophy in any offline tournament. It's kind of long period. How do
Yeah.
you think of that result?
Yeah, of course, it's a bit disappointing to see, and it sucks as a Protoss player and a fan of StarCraft. I would like for there to be like 3 viable races at the top level, but I feel like if you look at the games, it's not like Protoss is like extremely underpowered or anything. I think we lost a lot of the best Protoss players to military service, unfortunately. Players like Zest and Trap and Stats at his prime, and like these players would really like they would always show up and have something really amazing to show at these big events. And yeah, we don't have that anymore. We of course have Hero, which is still like on par with those other Protoss players I mentioned at their prime, but Hero is just a totally different kind of player. He's super chaotic. He does things absolutely crazy, and yeah, it would be nice if we had some players like Stats in his prime who would just like beat everyone with macro or something. And yeah, the fact that we don't have that kind of hurts the viewing experience. And because I'm retired, I can't really talk too much on the balance side of it, like what could be fixed, what could be changed. But yeah, Protoss has always had a problem of like requiring you to play a little bit cheesy or a little bit like unorthodox, or like coming up with something to kind of trick your opponent. So Protoss kind of struggles in the longer series against top players. And you see that anytime like a Protoss plays against like Serral or Clem in like a best of 5 or a best of 7, it's pretty hard because like they'll maybe like trick them one game and win once or twice, but it's hard to do that in like a best of 7 or even like a best of 9 or something. So yeah, it ends up with just like yeah, the Protoss players just losing quick, and that's unfortunate. I don't know how it can be fixed. It might just be built into the design of the race. And with the game so figured out these days, it's hard to really like trick people consistently over a long series.
Yeah, based on the results, like top Korean Protoss player, the Classic and Hero, they also mentioned to me that they could reach the same final, but like you say that they need more strategy to surprise Sarah, Clan, Maru, but they cannot make more and more. So they feel like Protoss cannot win big tournament against those kind of good other races player. So basically they are same boat as yours.
Yep. Yeah, I would agree with that.
We have a both side, right? We lost to really top Protoss player. That is also reason. But the other reason is Protoss is actually like losing something in game. That's also fact, right? Yeah.
I definitely think so. When it comes to like a longer series, it's hard to win. Like if you take like just a best of 1, like Hero against Serral or Hero against Clem, I think it's actually, it's not that one-sided. It's not like there's that much of a balance issue. But yeah, when it goes to the longer series and you have to prepare like 5 or 6 different strategies as Protoss to trick the Zerg over and over, that's when it gets really tough.
Well, let's say, of course, you cannot know. I cannot know. Nobody can know that. But if Zest or Trap, like stats you mentioned, if they come back and then make some strategy in current situation, like current balance, current map, do you think they can make some good macro game to beat against the Sarah, Clan, Maru?
I'm not sure about macro games, really. I feel like I always am a bit pessimistic about Protoss in macro games, but maybe it's possible. I definitely think, though, if we had players like Zest who would come up with like really sharp timings and stuff like that, we could see more of like winning in like a best of 5 or a best of 7, because Zest is the kind of player who could prepare like 4 or 5 like really strong timings against Zerg and have like perfect execution. And we're missing players like that, because we have like Hero, but he's super chaotic. He's not like a sharp player who plays like perfect timings or something like that. And Zest was more of a player like that. And yeah, that's just like one of the holes that the Protoss race is experiencing. We have a lot of other problems too, I guess.
Yeah, I understand your point of view. And a lot of people say that we lost to top players, and that's why Protoss the winning rate is lower and lower. Whenever it comes to me, the Protoss savior was Hero. Actually, like Just Trap didn't win any single GSL regular season, or didn't win like ESL Masters offline tournament, but Hero did it. So I don't know, it's like really complicated. But
Yeah, I mean, Hero, sorry to interrupt. I just want to talk more about Hero, because he's a brilliant player. He has like some of the coolest strategies. You watch him in like PvP taking down like Max Pax, who's like the best one gate player, and he just makes it not even look close. He's just very brilliant strategically, but he's like, I don't know if he's gotten more lazy or something over time, but he's really lazy with his micro. If you watch him, like he just doesn't control his units as sharply as other Protoss players like Trap or Stats or Zest would. And yeah, so it's kind of like he's very inconsistent, as you might notice. I don't know if that's more of him getting lazy over the years, but yeah, like if you would watch him back in like the Pro League days, he was very on point with his micro also. And then, that's why when he was one of like the absolute scariest players in the world.
So we have a esports World Cup coming. You could have played Gamer Set, which was esports World Cup, the previous one, right?
Right. I think I was invited to the closed qualifier or something, but I was already in university, so I felt like I wouldn't really have a chance of qualifying, playing in the closed qualifier, so I didn't even accept the invite. And yeah, this year there's no chance.
Yeah, I mean, when you practice hard, you always achieved the NA, the best player in the past. Of course, who knows if Australia or Scarlet still beat you, even if you didn't retire, But wouldn't you feel, I wish I could still play and then I could go there and then try to get a chance to earn big prize money? Have you thought about that?
Yeah, one of my biggest regrets of my StarCraft career is that I never performed really well at like one of the World Championship events, one of the events with like a huge prize pool, like a Katowice or a BlizzCon or something. And I mean, this Esports World Cup is just another opportunity to like, for like a proper World Championship. And in my entire StarCraft career, I've never really performed that well at one of these events, never like a quarterfinal or never like a semifinal or a finals or something. So yeah, I always am a bit regretful when I look back like that, but I don't think there's that much of a chance for me to do well at one of them now. So I mean, I'm happy just to stay at home and enjoy watching it from home.
Bro, you're a good player. Somehow you were sloppy in World Championship, like you said. Jeez.
Yeah, it could just be a mindset thing or something, because it's very stressful to be like, okay, this match is for like $20,000 or something, or this match is like very important, and there's not going to be another World Championship for a whole nother year or something. So it gets very stressful, and sometimes you can just like collapse under the pressure. I definitely have, unfortunately.
Yeah. So yeah, if a Protoss player win World Championship like Esports World Cup, which is the biggest prize and most honored achievement in the current season, would you count this as a Protoss could be the strongest race and we don't have to worry things anymore, or it's just one lucky? I wanna hear your casual thought,
Yeah, sure. I mean, if Protoss wins this cup, that would be extremely hype, and I mean, I would love it as a viewer, honestly. Yeah, for Protoss to win this kind of tournament, we would really have to like come up with something crazy new or something innovative or something that like none of the Zergs or Terrans have ever seen before. And I mean, Hero and Chzzk are definitely the type of players that would be able to do that. So I can't like totally discount it, but I think like speaking, like how likely it is for this to happen is probably like a less than 1% that a Protoss wins.
Whoa, less than 1%.
Yeah, and that, I mean, that's mostly talking about like these long tournaments where the finals is going to be like best of 7, and there's going to be a whole bunch of best of 5s and stuff. And I think Protoss just like winning round after round of best of 5 or best of 7 against the best Terran and Zergs in the world is very unlikely. But I mean, Protoss in like like in WTL or something, Protoss can do fine because it's just like a best of 2, which is you can very easily like prepare a build a week in advance and have like a week to like iron it out. And so I think Protoss can do fine in those events. But when it comes to these world championships, it's definitely a lower probability than most people would like to think, unfortunately.
I didn't really think you'd be very honest about the current Proto situation. So let's wrap it up. Since you say that you might play a bit more in your vacation time, or can we expect you compete at least like small tournament, or just you're gonna play for fun?
It's hard to say. I never like I wouldn't want to like make that promise and then like not go through with it. So yeah, I can't say. I played a little bit over winter break, so a couple of months ago, and I was definitely out of shape. I would need a lot more practice than like 1 month or 2 months. So yeah, I don't want to make that promise, but I do enjoy like playing the game and just like the experience of competing. So that's fun, and I'll probably come back to StarCraft every once in a while. But to be at the level where I play even like an ESL Cup or something, that would be optimistic, I think.
I mean, you are such a good player, so you don't feel satisfied to compete the tournament when you are not prepared, right?
Right. Yeah. It's like I just enjoy like the aspect of competing, and that doesn't necessarily need to be like an online tournament. It can just be ladder. Ladder is a sufficient competition for someone who's out of shape. I don't need to like play against Clem in the ESL Cup to compete.
All right. Thank you very much for your time.
Yep. And yeah, it was very nice to do an interview like this. It's been a while since I've done like a pro gaming interview, and it was definitely a throwback, especially talking like about like 2016, like when I started being a pro gamer who played at the top level. It's fun to talk about this stuff. I forget about it a lot. I definitely have a lot of good memories. So yeah, thank you for bringing me in to do this interview.